Welcome back to the Sportsmax Zone. And the West Indies women suffered a major blow to their World Cup semi-final hopes after going down by 8 wickets to Pakistan in a rain-affected contest at Seton Park in Hamilton early Monday morning. The game was reduced to 20 overs per side due to rain, with West Indies struggling to 89 for 7. Deandra Dottin 27 and Stephanie Taylor 18 were the leading scorers, with Nina Dar claiming career best figures of 4 for 10. In reply, Pakistan eased to 90 for 2 to win with 7 deliveries to spare. Here's Ricardo Chambers with the details of another batting disaster for the West Indies women.
Last time Pakistan won a 50-over World Cup game was 2009. It was against the West Indies. But for most of this day, it looked as if there would be no play, rain preventing any action for over 5 hours. When the weather cleared, the match was reduced to 20 overs per side. The Windies sent to bat. Pakistan off to a loose start. Deandra Dottin built hopes of a big score with her usual aggressive style. One bounce. But only 19 was on the board when Hayley Matthews fell for 1.
Taken. Well done.
Dottin struck 5 fours in her 27 of 35 before becoming the first of Nina Dar's 4 victims with just 34 on the board. Taylor was among only 3 players to reach double figures, the skipper getting to 18 of 31 balls before becoming the 7th wicket and 3rd with the score on 63. Afi Fletcher 12 and Alia Elaine 9 put on an unbeaten 26 for the 8th wicket, pushing the Windies to 89 for 7. For the 2nd consecutive game, the Courtney Walsh coached girls were hoping for the bowlers to produce the heroics, but unlike against Bangladesh, they struggled for wickets, picking up only 2. Afi Fletcher bowled a swinging Sidra Amin with the score on 22. The next wicket came at 57 when Muniba Ali was caught off Selman for a top score of 37. And any thoughts West Indies had of orchestrating a late Pakistan collapse were quickly dashed thanks to unbeaten knocks from Bisma Maroof, who made 20, and Omema Sohail 22. The Pakistanis easing home to win by 8 wickets with 7 deliveries to spare. West Indies left stuck on 6 points with 1 preliminary round game to play.
And you can see from the West Indies side how disappointing they are, because they were running for the semi-final and Pakistan has changed plans for them and for many other teams in this World Cup.
Here's a detailed look now at the table. The West Indies, they have 6 points, trailing only Australia, who have 10, and South Africa 8. The Windies have 1 match to play against South Africa, but because of today's defeat, even if they win that match, they can still be caught by India and defending champions England. As unlikely as it seems, mathematically, they can also be caught by Bangladesh. And as you can see, India and England have a superior net run rate to Stephanie Taylor's side. So things are not looking great for the West Indies women after Monday's defeat. Here's assistant coach Corey Collymore assessing the performance.
The plan with the team, as always, we look to put a score on the board if you're batting first. And if you're bowling first, you need to be really tight, pressure the opposition. I don't think we soaked the pressure up enough with bat or ball, actually. It was really tough on the bowlers to try to defend 90. But I don't think we applied enough pressure with the bat. Probably went a bit too hard early on, and we didn't settle down and try to get a score on the board that we could defend.
Now to assess this West Indies loss in New Zealand, we're joined by veteran commentator Joseph Reds Perreira. Welcome, Reds.
Yes, good afternoon, Mariah, and a sad end to our campaign. Although we have a mathematical chance of beating South Africa, where there's life, there's hope. But if the Bangladesh near nightmare wasn't hard enough to take, the full Monty last night was just mind-blowing. I mean, I've seen the delay, I checked my phone, it went to cricket info, and my first surprise was that Anisa Mohammed was in place of Ramraj. And the young Trinidad spinner had 10 overs in the last game and conceded 15 runs. A beautiful spell that really helped the West Indies. Well, that was the decision they made. And when it finally got started, the dot balls started to come fairly early, although Dottin was off to a fairly good start. Matthews didn't have the patience, didn't have, I think, the concentration, and played a very wild shot. Top edge caught down that third man. Dottin then was in fact the key, and had she in fact just gone through the power play and continued to put the scores together, but then a fairly average back of a leg ball from Dar, I mean, to my surprise, if I was half asleep, I was fully awake when he hit it straight back to Dar. And then the profession started. Taylor came at number 3. That was the one change. And, you know, she just couldn't get the ball away, soaked up a fair amount of dot balls, and eventually she went for 18 off 31. And then Campbell came in, and we had our mind going back to Campbell against England. She started well, using the feet, played 2 lovely shots, and then run past Dar. I mean, she wasn't stopped. She was run out. And we had a situation where Nation came in. Yeah. Memories of England again appearing. Played across the line, close-faced, bold. Knight came in, hit 1 lovely shot, and then hold out to Medan. Henry decided, well, she's going to go for the hills. First delivery, hit high down the long on, and on the edge of the boundary, a very good first miss, but then recover, chance taken. Fletcher did her best, got 12 off 7. Aline struggled to get the ball away, 9 off 16. And Pakistan 22 for 1. 57 for 2. You had all the details already. Yeah. 90 for 2 of 18.5.
Right. So, Reds, based on what you're saying to us, you know, you've made it clear that the issue had a lot to do with the shot selection. Now, my question to you, based on what you just outlined to us, is, do you feel as if, you know, the West Indies women, based on the run that they had before, they underestimated Pakistan, and thus the reason they ended up losing their wickets in the manner in which they did?
Well, if they didn't learn their lesson from Bangladesh, I would be very surprised, because once Bangladesh won the toss, I don't believe they had too much of hesitation to do exactly what Bangladesh did. Spin, spin, and more spin. And I just don't believe we seem to be up for that diet of spin. And we made awful mistakes. It's really difficult to understand how this side looked very capable against the fast attack of New Zealand, the fast attack of England, and all of a sudden there seemed to be a definite problem with spin. And this is not vicious spin. Yeah. This is not back of the hand spin. This is just good, tidy spin, and we were making all the mistakes.
Yeah, West Indies, they next play South Africa on Wednesday. If they don't win that match, and it's a very, very tough match based on how the standings are looking, the Windies will have nobody but themselves to blame.
Yes, and that's going to be a really tough call. I mean, I was hoping that we would have won the game last night by a wide margin, improve our rate, and then, you know, somehow or the other squeeze past South Africa. I mean, from the start, it was very relevant that the run scored by the West Indies was basically up to Matthews and Dottin, although that was changed slightly with the stand by Campbell and by Nation against England. But once those two didn't put runs on the board, and they were quite capable, if there was only better shot selection, if there was a little more patience, a little more application, go through the power play. I mean, it's only 20 overs, and you get 140, you have a very good chance. But although the Pakistan spin did the job, I mean, our spinner just didn't have the impact. And after a great start to the Walsh court side, I think last night was a very sad night, and it reminds us of Ireland beating Pakistan at Sabina Park, Bangladesh beating India, important Spain in the World Cup. Well, we had our problems in the World Cup too, as we all remember, losing a game that we should have never lost. And last night it was the turn of the women.
Yeah, and Reds, the fact is that even with a victory over South Africa, that result would not necessarily guarantee the West Indies a semi-final spot, because of their net run rate, which is poor.
Yeah, I was just hoping for a good performance, and it's going to be a difficult job for Courtney Walsh to get these girls up, you know. Really, they have to play for pride, they have to play for themselves. They got to remember what they did, and it's going to be more of a similar attack that they did well in the early matches. South Africa got spin, but they do rely on a fair amount of medium pace and fast to medium.
Yeah, Rez, as we look to rebuild going forward, because things are looking very difficult, and a lot of our players are older players. There's a young St. Lucian, Kiana Joseph, who lives there in St. Lucia, where you are. How much of a prospect do you think she is as we look ahead to rebuilding a West Indies women's team?
Well, first of all, Lance, she's left arm. She was left arm medium pace when they played. Earlier in the year, I think she bowled left arm spin. She's someone that they can certainly look to. I name Ramarach. She certainly is part of the future. She is really a very promising player. Nice, smooth action, and I think young enough to last very long. But you know, beyond what your question, Lance, we need to have more cricket played at the regional level, not 2020. I see the CPL talking about a women's CPL. I don't think that's the best way to develop female cricket. We need to have secondary school. How many secondary schools are playing cricket?
Yeah, not many, Reds, not many.
Exactly. So I think we seem to be heading the wrong way. I mean, it's like, after we lost the World Cup, Pollard talked about another 2020, another CPL, and instead of saying, you know, we need more 2- and 3-day cricket.
Yeah.
So the future doesn't look bright. I think, as you've just pointed out, Lance, a lot of our players are getting a little long in the tooth. But you know, Dutton, once she stays fit, Hayley Matthews is a class act on her day, and we need to find some replacements. There's a couple of young people on the bench that didn't get a game. I thought Fraser might have may come in against South Africa, one or two others.
Yes.
But we just have to wait and see what they'll put together.
All right, Reds, we've got to leave it there. Thanks for talking to us, and we'll see what happens in the South Africa match. Thanks, Reds.
Okay, my pleasure. Anytime, Lance.
Yeah, Reds Perreira very impressed with Mara's sister, Karishma Ramara.
Yeah, I get that sense. And you know, a lot of people reaching out to me as well, which is normal, because I have to say, blood or no blood, sister or no sister, she really did have a good performance in that previous match. So, you know, a lot of people asking questions. We'll see what happens in the South Africa match, but I just wish that we weren't in this position, especially because of the start we had to the campaign.
Big time.
Big time.